Hey, friends! I'm Jesse Fisco.
And I'm Ambry Fisco.
As founders of several successful businesses, we've experienced absolute joy and satisfaction working together to build our empire.
Our journey started off as a small business idea and has launched into a multi-million-dollar portfolio. It would have never been possible had Jesse and I not understood the key principles of making it all work together. But it has not been easy.
We found ourselves in the trenches trying to balance real life with business life while maintaining our strong commitment to creating an amazing marriage.
And we've emerged in a beautiful way together. This podcast was created to help you do what we've done, build an amazing marriage together while maintaining balance between life and business.
So here we are. You're listening to the Matrimonial Merger, a couple's guide to balancing life and business.
Let's get started. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Matrimonial Merger with hosts Ambry Fisco and Jesse Fisco.
What is up?
How are you, Jesse?
I have been feeling very under the weather for the last week, so I'm finally on the up and up. I did this thing with salt where, like, you take salt water and shoot a turkey baster up your nose. It was disgusting. Wow. I don't recommend it ever again.
Oh, yeah. I think, did you do it right?
I don't know. I have no idea. Gosh. So there you go.
Oh, lots of salt today because we also went to a salt cave, salt room.
That was very cool.
What is it, like 16,000 tons of salt in there or something?
Yeah.
And that's extremely good for like your respiratory system. And anyways, Jesse's
I'm salted out,
healing and healthy.
Salt of the earth,
taking all the right measures.
Yeah. So
all good things.
If you hear a hack in the back, you know it's probably me.
Hack in the back. Is that going to be the name of this episode? I feel like we should start over.
This is the first episode too that we're doing like video recording. And so I'm over here hacking in the back. They're gonna see everything. You're gonna see me like
be laughing. Yeah, everything.
Oh okay. My god.
Anyways,
well, let's get going.
Thank you for being here. We're super excited to chat some more this week and ignore the hack in the back over there. Do you need a cough drop?
I'm good. I'm just laughing.
Oh my gosh. Oh. Okay. Well, by the time you all listen to this in a few days, Jesse will be 100%.
That's right.
Perfectly healthy and safe.
I'm already healthy and safe, right?
Yeah. Okay.
There you go.
Well, how's that for an intro?
I can't stop laughing.
Anyways, so this week, we're really excited. We're going to step inside a very recent scenario that Jesse and I faced and talk about like the details around it and also the learning that we are literally in the middle of right now. Just kind of give you like some of our experience. So, yeah. I'm really excited. Go ahead.
I was going to say, this may go a little bit deeper. And obviously this is things that we teach our clients for our coaching, and try to help them understand like really what's happening in their life. Yeah. Right. And so, the more you start asking yourself questions like, why is this happening? And what do I need to learn from it? The more opportunities you're going to have to actually discover things that may or may not be holding you from getting to the next level.
And you'll find that as you continue to listen to this podcast and explore several episodes and future episodes, like things will link together and make sense, which is going to be awesome for you. So,
absolutely.
Just to kind of like give a segue into this episode, like what's holding you back? What is the program or the belief that is currently keeping you from being where you want to be right now, next week, in a month, maybe 5 years, 20 years, however long from now? What is it that is holding you back from that outcome?
This
or
congestion
that
I'm dealing with.
Your nose.
My nose.
So when you receive feedback or what some people may call like a roadblock in your path, do you just succumb? Do you chalk it up as like, well, I guess I didn't deserve that, or that wasn't supposed to happen, or maybe that was too good to be true? Do you tell yourself that? Does it just become like that wasn't meant to be, or what happens next? That's what we're going to talk about today.
I think some of the times, though, it's like we experience that. And for those that are religious, they go, oh, this was a warning. Like, God's protecting me.
And sometimes it could be.
Sometimes it could be. And I'm not going to discredit that. But
sure,
like for some that are religious and rely on feelings and things from like the spirit that they refer to in the scriptures, maybe that I'm just going to suggest that maybe it's not the spirit, but rather
I think it's important to be able to differentiate
exactly
what, and that's a very personal thing. So we're not going to like tell you how you should or should not interpret those feelings. However, like
as we get into this episode, though, you'll understand that segue and why I brought that up, because a lot of times we are in a habit loop that we don't even understand. And because something challenges that habit loop, it might be the habit that's giving us that feedback and not necessarily what we are interpreting it to be, right?
Yeah.
So,
man, we're diving in real quick.
Right deep.
But I mean, yes. There's a lot to get to on that, but the experiences that you face and those quote unquote roadblocks, like, yes, perhaps there are certain situations where you are being like protected, or like there's a reason that that's happening, right? And regardless, there's always a reason. It's just up to you now to determine why and what that is.
Absolutely.
So
I'm excited about this one.
I know
this one's a good one.
This is a slow introduction, but just hang on. We're getting to some good stuff. So I'm going to share an experience that we had recently about a vehicle, a car that I wanted to buy. So I've wanted to buy this car for like
Kia Telluride, right?
Sure, yeah, Kia Telluride. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Throw it there.
I was going to keep the details very vague.
No,
it is a Kia Telluride.
You've designed this car.
Well, the funny thing is like I, up until like a week ago, had never even like actually sat in one ever. But last year I was just like, I really want one. That's what I want. I don't know why. I don't like, it's not even like a luxury or super expensive car. It's a nice car. It's like not cheap compared to, I don't know what, but it's a nice car. And it's like in my life right now, it's like the perfect mom car. Like it's just what I want. I don't know. So I've been thinking about that for months and months. However, I didn't like the idea of waiting like a year to get this car. So I just didn't do it. I'm like, I don't want to wait a year. Like, what if what I want changes in that year? Probably should have been thinking about it in that way, but in like the minutes that I had to think about it, it was just like, oh no, like, whatever. Well, like that never left. And I was constantly like, I really want a Telluride. And I would look online here and there, check to see if any were for sale. And they would be, but sometimes it was like, I was very specific about what I wanted. The specific like color, the package, what it would include, like all of that. I wanted like all the things. And any that I found or came across, it was like they were missing a few of those details. So I'm like, if I'm going to do this, I deserve to have what I want. So I was waited. However, I didn't just go like order it and put my name on one. So fast forward about a week ago, I was looking again and I found one that was literally exactly what I want. Exactly. And just a few hours previously, we had gone to a dealership that had one that super nice, but it was used and not exactly what I wanted. And I was like, you know what? I don't want this. I want all of the things that I have designed. So a couple hours later, I found this one that a dealership has brand new, supposed to arrive like the next day. And it's exactly what I wanted, down to every detail. And I in the past have struggled like making decisions quickly or being decisive about what I want. And that's something that I was like, no, like this is what I want. Like, I know this is what I want. I'm going for it. Like, Jesse, are we on the same page? He supports the decision. Great. So I, literally within minutes, I'm like, okay, I want this car. put down the deposit, made arrangements that I was going to go pick it up the next day. And that next day we're at an appointment and I get a phone call, and like, I'm feeling really like excited and proud of myself. Like, a year ago, I don't know that I would have acted on that so quickly. Like, I think I would have put a lot more like thought and doubt and fear into that decision. And so I was feeling very proud of myself because I'm like, wow, I've come a long way. Like, I've made some changes in the way that I am responding to like my unconscious mind literally handing me what I want. And I'm saying, thank you, I'm going to act on this. So I was feeling really good. And then we were at this appointment and I get a phone call from the sales rep and he's like, I have some bad news. I'm like, okay. And he proceeds to tell me that the owner of the dealership had just sold this car, my car, to his like buddy or something. And I'm just like, hold up. Like, this was all flowing perfect. Everything was going exactly how I would want. Like, it's the exact car I wanted. It's brand new. It's literally going to be here right now. I don't have to wait 12 months. Like, everything I wanted to a T over the last several months is happening. So why all of a sudden, like, the owner just sells it?
Right.
He just sold my car. What the heck?
Yeah.
So anyways, initially, obviously, I'm frustrated. I'm like, what the heck? Like, I put my deposit down, did all the right things, made the decision. Why? Why this? And in the past, like, I could see myself that I would go back and like doubt that decision.
Yeah.
And say, okay, like, that wasn't the right thing. I wasn't supposed to make this decision.
Maybe this is, someone's way of telling me it's not.
Yeah,
right?
maybe I don't deserve this. Maybe like I was wrong. Like, this wasn't the right choice. I don't deserve this. It was what did we say before? Maybe it was too good to be true. So, there you go.
Absolutely.
And I still truly believe in this situation that everything does happen for a reason, and I will come out of this whole situation with so many learnings and things that will propel me and, help me to grow and understand more if I choose that, right? So, and that's the biggest thing is like, this is where the choice is. Like, how am I going to now think about this situation and focus on it? So,
I think the big thing, I'm just going to jump in right there.
Yeah.
But I think the big thing is that you have an opportunity to look at that whole situation and really dive deep. And we did, right? We were literally looking at it from all certain angles. And we finally came back down to this. And the root of that is like you mentioned, it's probably too good to be true. Mm-hmm. Well, I had found myself saying, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. And I've said that consistently, right? Like, that's been
why
something.
do we say that?
Right.
Did you come up with that?
Well, and that was the thing. And so at that moment, realizing that was a perception, like my reality was being molded because I believed personally that because everything lined up perfectly and so quickly, that it was too good to be true for me.
Yeah.
And for you.
Which is something that, like, I would venture to say we didn't decide. It's something that had been decided by our society and, like, the average lifestyle, that like, that's just a, belief that's been created that we believe because that's what we've been told. Right. And anyways, like my current mindset sent me into a state of like curiosity and like, what am I doing? Like taking full responsibility for that feedback I'm receiving and going like, okay, what do I need to learn from this? What am I doing in my life that's attracting this feedback and this outcome? Like, what beliefs and or programs do I need to identify or recognize in order to attract a smooth outcome? Because like, it's right there. It's like, and I still like, the story isn't over. It's to be continued, and we will let you know what the outcome is. Yeah. But like, what's my responsibility in this? And I love that because it takes it from like, you're not the victim. You are in charge. You're in control. Like, you can either succumb to that feedback or what some might call a roadblock, and you can either let it block you, and you can let the end like change your direction, and you know, maybe that's good, maybe that's not, like that's up to you to decide. However, like if you're going for what you want and you deserve it and it's a good, like positive thing, you don't have to let that be the block of the end outcome. Like now is the time to truly become curious and discover why. What is it? And so that's what we've been doing for like the last week, because it's like, sure, we could chalk this up as like whatever, move on with our life, but like there's something there. Like this is bigger than it might seem.
And the thing that most people don't understand, once again, is the fact that what you truly believe, and whether that's like something you say consistently or something that maybe it's just been installed and you haven't even discovered it yet, what you believe is going to be a direct reflection of the results you see in this life.
Right.
So the example of, oh, if it's too good to be true, it probably is, right? Well, that is why we receive that feedback. I am thoroughly convinced. Now, some people may disagree, but as you take absolute control of your life and understand that your perception and the things you view really does have an energy. There's an energy behind it. If you think of everything connected as an energy, if there is an energy behind the purchase or that exchange of money, there's an energy behind the thoughts going into that exchange as well. And so
100%.
I don't want to get too crazy, but at the end of the day, it would have been very easy for you to say, oh, it just wasn't meant to be, when realistically, it wasn't that it was not meant to be. It's the fact that there are some things that you're consistently thinking, or that I'm consistently thinking, that are preventing us from actually getting those things easily and effortlessly. Like,
totally.
At what point did it have to be hard? Maybe life had given you so many things that were easy, but because of that idea or that belief that, oh, it can't be, it's got to be too good to be true, maybe that belief is really what has limited you from making even more decisions. You just haven't realized that
and
yet.
Attracted that outcome.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I love that. And I think like in this specific situation, like I could have, and maybe previously in my life would have, like gotten that phone call and just brushed off and been like, I'm not even surprised. Like it was just happening way too smooth. Like it just, once again, was too good to be true. And I could have just been like, whatever, like this sucks, but let's move on. Let's figure out something different. However, that's not what we did. No. Now we're going into the curiosity, and we're diving deep into this. And while we're also like working on creating the best outcome for this situation and still getting what it is that we want, we're also taking a step inside and going like, what can I learn from this? And what is the learning here? So
I'm going to go a little bit deeper too.
Okay.
All right. So those that believe that they are entitled to a discount, or that there's always a better price.
Sure.
Is it possible that that belief too may have influence in the way that outcomes happen in your life? For example, if you believe that you can get this item for a smaller price, is this the secondary gain? And so the energy is exchanging and you don't get your car, but then what if, because you have this belief that you get everything at a discount, then they call you back and say, actually, we'll sell you this car with a discount because of this. There may be even more things that are tied to the feelings of that route that you have no idea. And that's important too, because you may have your primary route and then there may be a secondary gain involved with it that's also very enticing to you. For example, a discount.
But it's up to you to pick which path is ultimately more ideal to you, because I mean, like the discount could be appealing, but what cost did it come at? To your time or to your resources or whatever, right? Like maybe, I'm not saying that is better or worse. Like it's just up for you to decide what you liked and what kind of energy you want to attract. So,
well, and like an example of this is a gentleman we know that he was talking about this, and he said that he bought a Nintendo Switch. And then, long story short, the Nintendo Switch, when he got it, was pixelated, and he was able to get a 25% discount when he traded
Which
it
is
in.
awesome.
Which is awesome, right?
Anyone would like that.
And what he was saying, though, is that secondary gain was what was enticing to his unconscious mind, right? And what he realized is he doesn't want the discount. He would rather have the item because the amount of time that he used to go
talk
be
to
on the
customer
phone
service
with customer service and everything.
Yeah.
He could have been on the phone talking to clients. And so that was a program that he had to come back and change and say, you know what, I'm not worried about discounts because there's an abundance. So that secondary gain could have been a small amount of scarcity.
And although he maybe saved a couple $100 or whatever it was, with the time and energy spent getting that secondary gain, he could have made thousands of dollars, you know. So that's up for you to decide, you know, what is the better use of your time and energy. And I think we talked about this last week or the week before, but talking about like getting to is the same outcome, but like which path did you take?
Yeah.
Like, sure, you can get to the same outcome with either a lot of like bumps and ups and downs and like frustration, arguments, whatever, all of those things, and still get to the same outcome. But what if you could get to that same outcome without that?
With 20% of the energy that you use. Yeah.
And with only using 20% of that energy, what did you do with the 80% that also helped you go up, like,
right.
you know, grow in the process? So not only did you get to the same spot, but you actually propelled yourself up. And, you know, one might suggest that's more ideal. That's better. Sure, you got to the same outcome, but what kind of, you know, negative emotions and other things did you avoid in the process by looking at things a different way? So
I love that. And I think that that's one of the biggest things, too, that we're trying to get into is that there are programs that are installed in your mind. And it could be something that you have no idea until you start to really dig deep, and then they surface. For example, this program of, you know, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. At this point, now I've got to go back and resolve that and say, at what point did I decide that?
Yeah.
And
when did I let that become
when did I let that
belief
become
system?
My reality?
Yeah.
Because once again, that opportunity could literally be very good, and it could be too good for you. And maybe that's the opportunity that propels you to the next opportunity and to the next outcome that you're truly desiring.
Yeah.
You know?
And we talked to one of our mentors about this situation specifically, and he's like, what if you could adjust that to, if it's too good to be true, it's for me. Whoa.
Right.
Okay.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah. Sign me up. So, and also another thing that I want to reiterate that I know we've talked about in an early episode is like, take on the belief and consider that failure is not real. There's no such thing as failure. So if there's no such thing as failure, what is there? There's feedback. So there's no failure, only feedback. And if you take on that belief that failure is not actually part of your reality, there's only feedback. It's your choice to decide what to do with that feedback. So obviously, like we said, after exploring this situation and feedback more, Jesse and I were able to find and identify some like deeply rooted beliefs that we can now change and use the tools that we have to change and adjust those beliefs and make them more resourceful. So it's interesting to me though how like I mean, this is something we've been working on for months, like reprogramming, removing negative beliefs, installing more resourceful ones, and, you know, just adjusting the way we are viewing situations. And it was interesting to me today to realize in a different way, like how these deeply rooted beliefs can manifest themselves in different situations where like, you're like, wait a minute, what is this? What's there? What am I missing? And the power is though, that like once you decide that you have control over your response and your programs, like that is where the power and the beauty and the miracles can happen. And that's when you're able to experience the result of true alignment and conviction. And you may experience like face new experiences where you receive like feedback and discover an old program that you want to change, but with the tools and awareness to do so, you're limitless.
Absolutely. So I'm going to say this for the how do I solve these things? It's a series of questions, and it comes down to number one, why am I experiencing this? We've talked about this in other episodes, but truly saying, why did I experience this? And being open to what comes to your mind, right? And to the beliefs that you have. Now, something simple, oh, this always happens to me. Okay, well, that
Challenge yourself.
Challenge yourself. Okay, what is it specifically that always happens to me? Oh, well, I always don't get what I want. Oh, okay. Well, at what point did you decide
Since
that?
when?
Right?
Like how, yeah.
Dig deep into why you feel a certain way, because that is going to uncover the root that you're looking for. Once again, like today was so unique in the sense that it was like, oh, that's actually why this happened. And I didn't even say it specifically to this event or to this car. And I probably said, oh man, they just have made this easy for you, right? And I probably said that, and then instantly reality kicks in and goes, oh, well, if it's that, then this, right?
Yeah, all of a sudden your unconscious mind is like, oh, if it's too easy, then like,
we'll make this hard on you, Jesse.
Let's throw some roadblocks in there. But
think about that in your business real quick, right? Like, since we are kind of a merger podcast as far as business and marriage, like, oh, it's too hard. It has to be hard. Making money requires time. All of these beliefs that you have. Oh, I have to work more to earn more. Yeah. Like, you guys name it. Same thing with raising children. Oh, taking our kids to Disneyland. I'm guilty of this one, but like taking our kids to Disneyland sounds awful because it's so hard traveling with children. All of those limiting beliefs right there across the table. And you have an opportunity to go back and say, well, why did I decide that?
Well,
and at what point?
Those are the beliefs that create the unconscious programs that like you can't have all the money and success you want and also have the relationship with your family that you want, and that you can't have, like, if we're talking about Disneyland, like you can't have a, fun, happy, exciting trip to Disneyland without all this like stress and other, whatever you think it might look like. And that's very limiting, because if you believe that you can't have one of those without the other, or that, if you have one, the other can't be part of your reality, then you're limiting what you can do, and your unconscious mind isn't going to allow you to find the resources to move beyond that, because you've set that wall. Absolutely. And that boundary.
Like, look at it as like whatever you say will happen, right? I make $1 million. Now imagine if that would happen. But it's easy to say that, and that, like, this kind of goes down the line of affirmations, right? You tell yourself long enough and maybe at some point it will happen. Well, what if you're able to change that and make it faster? Hey, I am a multi-millionaire, almost billionaire, right? Most people right now, if I asked you, could you be a multi-millionaire or almost billionaire, there would be a reason why. And that reason why is what you can go in and explore. Same thing with, like give me an example. I guess like something that we hear all the time, like Disneyland, okay? Hey, are you excited to take your family to Disneyland? And someone might say, no.
Or like, it cost us like,
it cost us so
10
much
grand
money.
or whatever.
I love it.
Like,
there you go.
There's something like,
it was so expensive.
Like, I'm excited, but, or,
Right. So then take that so expensive, coupled with the affirmation you're trying to tell yourself that you're a multi-millionaire, billionaire. Well, you have this core belief versus the thing that you're saying. The core belief is always going to trump, right? Yeah. Because it's what you truly believe on the inside.
And your unconscious mind is going to follow the path that is easiest. Like, that seems the most available. So it's like, if you're like wanting to make billions of dollars, but you're hung up on a $10,000 vacation.
Or that it's going to take a lot of energy and effort to make that $1 billion. Yeah,
exactly. And there's another episode now I'm thinking about it, there's another episode coming about setting goals and standards and those things, because like if your goal is not big enough, your mind will just take the easy route and be like, okay, so we don't need more resources for this. We actually just need to work harder. Instead of saying like, okay, we can't just work harder for this. Like, we need resources.
Right.
And that's what you want, because that's where the massive growth will happen.
Yeah. Think about like your unconscious mind as well being similar to like you as a person, right? If you had the opportunity to pay someone to mow your lawn or go mow the lawn yourself, you would probably pay it, right? So your unconscious mind is very similar to the sense that it looks for the easiest way. Now, if your unconscious mind has been trained that it is hard to make money, it is hard to do these things, then it's going to naturally avoid the hard and go to where it's easy. And so it's the same thing. Like if we can train our unconscious minds to say, making money is easy for me. Like we laugh because, here's a great example. I went golfing one time. And when I went golfing, a text came in that our company made $10,000. I was like, cool. And the minute that happened, I told myself, because this was new, a new environment, something I've never done before, I told myself every time I golf, I make money. Well, tonight, I'm about ready to leave the house. And I told Ambry, I'm like, you know what? I need to make some money. And she's like, well, why don't you just go golfing real quick? And so
just go hit
some balls.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, I'm going to go. I'm going to go spend an hour. And as I pull up to the freaking golf course, I get a text message that is a income generating text message that someone needed help and assistance with one of their loans.
Yeah.
And the funny part is the text message, like, I didn't even golf because the golf course was closed. Like, that's how newbie I am. I don't even know the schedule. The golf course wasn't even closed, but the fact that I wasn't even open. Yeah, it wasn't even open. But it was the fact that I was at the golf course. My mind was so trained that the energy that as I was going and pulling up and the certainty that I was going to make money, it just created.
Super cool.
It was the coolest freaking thing. So I came home 5 minutes later.
Stuff, Jess.
I came home 5 minutes later, and Ambry was like, "What happened? Golf course was closed, but I made money.
I got a lead,
and that was way interesting, you guys. Like, and that's the thing that it can be effortless, or it could be tied to something like golf, and you don't even know. Yeah. But like, imagine training your brain and your unconscious mind to that point where every time you did something, it was just easy and effortless.
Well, when you're in control of your mind and your responses, like, you create your reality. Mm-hmm. And like, it's a very interesting concept, because even in situations where you could say that the same thing would have happened regardless, right? You're creating your reality around that situation. What do you want that to look like?
Yeah.
And I think that will change the reality literally. But even if you said it didn't and the situation was exactly the same, what experience did you have or get because of the way you were looking at it?
Absolutely. And I think the biggest thing, you guys, as the solution to this is to really dig deep into the thoughts. Like, really dig deep as to why you feel this way.
Take responsibility and accountability too. Like, I think that taking accountability and responsibility for everything that happens is so important, and something that, like, I don't know if it's very easily accepted, or like, a lot of times some tend to fall into like well, I couldn't do this or this didn't happen because of A, B, or C. Like, I mean, you could have taken your situation tonight and been like, well, I couldn't go make money because the golf course was closed. You still got a lead. You still, right. But when we fall into like the pattern of being a victim and creating excuses that may be perfectly logical and perfectly acceptable, right? Like, not saying that that's bad, but do you want to, once again, have that be your roadblock that blocks your progress? Or are you going to take that and take accountability and responsibility and propel yourself higher and further than you ever imagined?
I'm going to go off the cuff here.
Again.
And it's not bragging, but I want to get this very, very serious because I've golfed 4 times. And out of those 4 times...
in like a month.
In a month.
Not even, yeah.
And in those 4 times, we've made $40,000. And I'm being dead serious. Combined out of all 4 different golf experiences. Tonight would have been the 5th time golfing.
Gotcha.
And this opportunity created probably another $5,000.
Yeah.
For us. And so I'm being very serious. Like, I'm not trying to brag and say, oh, look at me. But I'm trying to show you what we truly mean is if you program your mind to believe something and truly, truly believe in it, the resources and things will be unlocked because that is what the habit loop has been trained to do. I love it.
It's awesome.
I want to golf every day, Ambry.
Your unconscious mind it's obedient, right? Like it wants to like experience the rewards. It wants to feel good. It wants you to be happy. And I mean, I believe we are here to be happy. Like we experience those roadblocks, but it's how we respond to them and what we choose to do that creates our outcome.
It's way cool.
And we're supposed to be happy. We're supposed to, create the best of situations that you can label however you want, but situations that are not ideal, we're meant to create the best out of them. And how do we do that? It's by training your mind and
reprogramming, right?
Reprogramming.
Going
absolutely.
and removing some of the thoughts. Oh, it has to be hard in order for me to do this. Something we're working on right now is increasing the amount of exposure our business does organically through social media. And in the beginning, it was like, oh, this is hard, but it's become more fun and it's become easy to the point where it's easy for us to create something and post, and we get lots of views and we get that organic exposure. And it's so nice because our businesses are no longer paying money to market. I mean, we're paying the money to create the cool content, right? Like the videos and the stuff like you guys are experiencing right now. But it's no longer
but we're choosing our audience. We're choosing
it's tailored exactly where we want.
Yeah.
And do you guys not think that our audience and the people listening are designed to be the type of people we want to surround ourselves with, right? Because we've gone in and said, hey, this person's listening. They're getting a lot from this podcast. They're trying to improve themselves. And because of that, that's what we've designed. We're no longer just shooting it out there, the shotgun approach. We're finding very specific people that we want to work with. And so you guys...
Sure. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I can't stress it out enough, but this is unlocking huge potential.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what the episode is called, unlocking huge potential.
Yeah.
And really thinking about it. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, sometimes we don't choose the title to these episodes until after.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, I want you guys to challenge you guys to consider what feedback you're currently receiving in your life that maybe seems to be pulling you away from what you want and challenging, the direction you're headed. And, sometimes this is for the better and sometimes that puts us in, the direction that we need to go. That's always a possibility. However, consider also the idea that your mind is so powerful that if you have the programs installed that conflict with the life that you're creating, you will receive feedback aligned with those beliefs and programs. But don't be discouraged. This can make us feel excited about the possibilities of when we're able to identify those programs and change them. Suddenly, you've unlocked a whole new realm for your reality.
I was excited when we had that, that huge,
genuinely excited.
Oh my gosh, this is unlocking and creating more opportunity in the future because I'm no longer going to believe this concept because it's not serving me.
How cool is that?
Purpose.
Instead of just, falling over and saying well, that didn't happen.
Sure.
Going, okay, why? Why did it happen in this way? And what is my responsibility in that? And how did I attract that? And Yeah, but it's really cool because I mean, I truly believe that like our lives are aligned. And so like what is there that you are missing, or what is there that is to be learned from, so that you can come back to that alignment and
I love it.
receive what you want in the way that you want.
I think of Peter when Jesus was like, hey, jump out on the water. And had Peter thought, well, in the scriptures, it shows us the minute he realized, oh my gosh, I'm actually walking on water, he started to drown, right?
That's such a cool example.
And like the minute that doubt started to creep in, right? But beforehand, I know this is Christ. I know that what he says is I can do it, and literally started walking on water. Yeah. You guys, like, there are things in your mind that are programmed that can entitle you and encourage you to walk on water. And there are things that will have doubt that will make you start to sink.
Yeah.
And
those are the habit loops that you talked about, like at the beginning, where it's like you have been used to responding in a certain way for such a long time that like when you start to try and do something differently, all of a sudden, like your body, your mind, everything kind of goes like, wait a minute, like this is different. Why are we doing this way? We've always done it that way. Like, why are we challenging this? Why are we responding in a new way? Like, this isn't normal, or this isn't usual.
You start to justify why
and that's
you feel
when
that
you
way.
start to justify, and when you start to come up with those like excuses, and it's very easy and maybe even like justified to be like, okay, never mind. Like, let's retract, right? But if you can get through that, that's where the massive power and growth happens. That's where you're able to, continue forward and go in the direction that you want and that you're trying to go. But yeah, those habit loops they're powerful, and literally your mind and body will start to be like, this is different. Something's wrong. Like, what's happening? Why are we doing this? This is not how we usually function. And, that's very fascinating.
Very fascinating. Well, guys, we appreciate you listening to the episode today, and appreciate you cooperating with the hack in the back.
Maybe that's our episode title. People will be like, what the?
I'm Mr.
What is
Dr.
this?
Seuss over here. But
really excited for you guys to like just take a step inside yourselves this week. And as you receive that feedback, like take a different look at it. Be curious. Consider your responsibility and your accountability and why that's happening.
I'm super excited.
In a positive and exciting way, because it is.
Absolutely. And I'm excited for the growth that our show has received over the past, 14, 15 episodes. Yeah. Like,
it was 14, I think.
Yeah, we now have cameras, and we're at the point of exploring going live with this show, and there's some really cool growth happening. We've gotten tons of reviews, and we appreciate you guys continuing to support and listen.
Yeah, thank you so much for all the support and the love, and we look forward to reciprocating that as well, and growing this community and creating it to be just that, a community, support and awesome things.
It's a bunch of creators.
Yes.
That's what you guys are.
It'd be fantastic.
You're creators.
Thanks so much for being here with us and listening in, and we're super excited to chat again next week. And more fun things ahead.
No more coughing.
Yeah. I'll be gone. Long gone.
Y'all have a great week, and we'll see you soon.
See you later.